That occurs in informal business.
The swearing in of senator-elect or senator-designate and other questions of privilege shall always be in order, except during roll call, the approval of minutes while there is a pending motion to adjourn, or while the rules have been suspended from our standing rules. So it is in order for us to swear.
Okay. So, Al? You vote on it? I don't know the procedures here.
We don't need to vote on it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Al?
Come on up.
Just two?
Sorry about my transfers. All day on
Dan, do you want to be sworn in? Come on up.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
Katie Yellow.
On this third day of February 2016,
On this third day of February 2016,
swear to abide by and uphold
swear to abide by and uphold
the bylaws and the Constitution
the bylaws and the Constitution
of Purdue Student Government.
of Purdue Student Government.
I swear to conduct
I swear to conduct
all legislative business
all legislative business
with complete honesty
with complete honesty
and with the best intentions of Purdue University
and with the best intentions of Purdue University
as my main objective.
as my main objective.
Congratulations, spokesperson of the judicial branch on that of Purdue.
And with that, congratulations to our new senators. I will entertain a motion to approve last meeting's minutes.
Say so moved.
Yeah. All right, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve last meeting's minutes. All in favor, please raise your hand backwards.
Is that a yes? Thumbs up?
Yeah. All right. With the unanimous vote, last meeting's minutes are approved. Yes.
I move to approve the minutes from 2/7, so that we table to this session.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve 2 meetings ago's minutes. All in favor, please raise your hand backwards. With the unanimous vote, 2 meetings ago's minutes pass. Sergey.
I move to bring up Bill 15-55, the Student Voices Amendment.
It's been properly moved and seconded to bring out Bill 1555, Student Voices Amendment. If you get here, so Teeter, would you like to speak?
I'm out.
You're good? Is there any other discussion?
So ultimately, I do understand that we're probably going to end up agreeing to disagree, but I feel that I should explain my vote. So first, I think we can all agree that we need to do a better job communicating with our constituents, and myself included, perhaps more so than others, especially communicating with those students whose background is different than our own. And so although this legislation came about as a part of the movement for racial equality, it's a lot broader than that, and it can be applied to many different situations that we may face. But this legislation, while bringing more voices to the table, alters the equal representation of students as set forth by our Constitution. Our current system allocates representation by college, and keeping that structure while adding seats based on potential individual agendas or feelings can skew voting and actually misrepresent the student body. So, and I believe we had similar conversations as this when we were discussing the honors college situation. So while this time these are only speaking seats, I can guarantee that if we were talking about, I don't know, something with I've used this example before, but if there was some situation with Red Halls and Greek Life with what we were voting on, moving things or funding or whatnot, if one of those groups had a seat at the table but not the other because we did one seat than the other, I can guarantee that that would alter the course of conversation and ultimately the vote. So furthermore, it sets precedents for us that we have to give one to another based on what we've done, otherwise it doesn't look very good, and so it just kind of locks us in and allows for unlimited growth of the Senate, which is counterproductive. Our Senate is based on the idea of our Constitution of the United States, and the Founding Fathers designed that as a representative democracy, not direct democracy, because they felt it was the fairest and most efficient way to govern. So I don't want to come off as feeling superior to our constituents, and on the contrary, I'm just working to protect their right to equal representation as defined by how they elected us, which is by college. So instead of altering representation, I think we should realize that the Senate is not the only branch of TSG. We have an entire committee in DOD dedicated to diversity and inclusion, another to student engagement, another to communication. That's kind of where our problems seem to lie in those areas. So maybe the answer to our issues is working with DOD more, or redefining or reorienting their goals. So ultimately, I will be voting no on this, not because I don't believe in better communication to hear diverse backgrounds of our students, but because I believe that this is not the best course of action.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion at this time? Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to do respectfully, but also adamantly disagree with Senator Henry on that. I just want to not afraid of giving more voice to students that we're supposed to represent, and I feel like this is a very much needed method of
I will echo what Senator McDonald just said. I also disagree with Senator Romery. I don't believe that this will change the representation of our Senate. This will give more voices. We're not giving more votes, and that's how we determine representation. So that's how I determine representation. So I will also be voting yes.
Can I give my time to Anna?
Hi guys. So I just want to point out that at the Let's Talk Race and Ethnicity, like you guys stood up and said how you guys are trying to solve this issue. Like you care a lot about it. So here's like your chance to try that out. Like can we please just try something instead of like shooting it down? These are all hypothetical things. Like you guys alter things all the time. If it becomes a huge issue, like we'll try something new. But like why are we not even trying something or like giving this a push? Like if you guys want to be behind this, if you want to stand up at a talk about race and ethnicity and say you're trying to address those issues, and this is something that came out of what you said, like racial issues, can we please try something? Like this would be great to try. It's not gonna like crumble everything, it's not gonna change everything, but there's an issue and this is a way that might solve it, so can we please like try, and if you're gonna stand up and say you're gonna do something, can we please do it? Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? I saw you first.
I'd just like to say I know Sharif agrees with me on this, and also it's my personal belief that this really does not affect the actual representation of the students. It's more so a chance to get at the things that aren't represented. We have students who really aren't like being, addressed. Their issues aren't being addressed. Besides when they come in, huge groups to Senate to, show what they need. And I think we need to put the brunt of the work on Senate to make sure that it's done and not on the students. So I'd also like to say that it's a bill that's been very carefully thought out, and there's a lot of checks and balances built in, so it's not something that's going to get out of control. It's been very carefully written and planned.
Yes.
I would also like to say that I'm really against this bill, as for the fact that even though the colleges do currently have representation at 3 seats, each college has a different number of students that go that, so those 3 seats are spread out differently between each college. As is in the United States government, we have the House and the Senate. That is not represented here, so this could be a way to kind of get that extra piece in there, especially something that Adam said last time he spoke on this bill, was that when you're splitting apart a small population on campus into these different colleges and they become even less and less and they become more diluted within the process, that means that this could be a way to bring that voice back up and pull it out of that illegal that we cannot be taking away from our students by making them come out when the Department of Work is not possible and we put ourselves in a position.
Yes, so,
Can I just suggest that people speak up? Like, I don't know if everybody else is having trouble hearing, but the hallway's kind of noisy, so thanks.
is there any further discussion at this time? Seeing none, we will move to a vote. All in favor, please raise your name placards. All opposed, same sign. Abstentions? Oh, we went to the bathroom. Oh, right, we're past it. Okay. Cool. So, 5 abstentions. This requires a 2/3 majority. What's that? The abstentions. Okay.
Not trying to count.
Okay. With a vote of 18-4-5, Bill 1555, Student Voices Amendment passes for the second time.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to bring up Bill 1547, co-sponsorship of the Purdue Grand Prix Foundation. Is there any discussion on the floor at this time? Yes.
I would like to ask where I'm involved in the therefore clause, saying that Nathaniel Braver and myself will become the PSG representatives for this new joint venture.
Second.
So whereas Nate Graber and Taylor Toll will become the PSG representatives.
These two government representatives for this
PSG student.
myself.
So we have
Okay. So the amendment was properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the floor about the amendment proposed by Senator Toll? Seeing none, we will move to a vote. All in favor, please raise your name placards. Unanimous? Okay. The amendment passes unanimously, and we are back to discussion on the floor about Bill 1547. Seeing none, we will move to a vote. All in favor, please raise your name placards. You say their names right? 1, 2. All opposed, same sign. Abstentions? With a vote of 24-02, Bill 1547, co-sponsorship of the Purdue Grand Prix Foundation passes. Yes, Senator Malloy.
I move to bring up Bill 1561.
It's been properly moved and seconded to bring up Bill 1561, a joint network of the Purdue, a joint network for Timmy Global Health. Is there any discussion on the floor at this time? Yes.
That goes into the school, so according to the joint network, rules, they have funds due over $14 per plate and.
Please speak up, I'm sorry.
In the presentation, they said they're dealing with $25 per plate. According to the JNet rules, we can't fund $14. $14 per plate.
Yes, so we actually just did the math right now, because if you actually do the math of the $375 per person, $385 per person, just lost the sheet of where I have all of them now. It times out to actually $545 per person, I believe it is. So it's, I guess we can go back and clarify the joint network rules, and say that we cannot fund, because right now it says we cannot fund over $14 a plate per person, but according to how much they are actually offering, it is $385 times.
385 times 25 is
Yeah, so we're not funding that much, we're not funding the whole entire, food cost, so we're just, the amount that we're funding is not really that.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we will move to a vote. All in favor, please raise your name placards. You need that. All opposed, same sign. Abstentions? Perfect. With a vote of 2501, co-sponsorship for Timmy Global Health passes. Yes.
Motion to bring up 50.
Is there a second? It's been properly moved and seconded to bring up Bill 1559, co-sponsorship, a joint network of Purdue Ag Week. Is there any discussion on the floor at this time?
I'd like to move to amend the therefore clause to include virtually, to host Burger Bash with Zach Frazier and Ross Smith serving as part of the PSG to help plan the event.
Second.
So what's the change? Did you have the word
TBD
P?
to Ross Smith.
To Ross. Okay. It's been properly moved and seconded to amend the therefore clause of Bill 1559 to change TBD to Ross Smith. Is there any discussion on the floor at this time? Seeing none, we will move to a vote on the amendment. All in favor, please raise your name placards. Perfect. All right, with the unanimous vote, the amendment passes. We are back to discussion on the floor.
I am for this amendment. I'm excited about it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Senator Scott. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we will move to a vote. All in favor, please raise your name placards. Miranda, what's your?
What are we voting on right now? Yeah, I can be asking. All right.
You already unanimously passed the amendment.
Okay.
All opposed, same sign. Abstentions? With a vote of 2303, Bill 1559, co-sponsorship a joint network of Purdue Ag Week passes. Yes.
I would like to bring up Bill 1561, second.
62.
Second. Oh, yeah, sorry. 62?
It's been properly, is there a second?
Yeah.
It's been properly moved and seconded to bring up Bill 1562, co-sponsorship, a joint network of the Purdue Student Sustainability Council Summit. Is there any discussion on the floor at this time? Senator McCon, would you like to start?
Yeah, I apologize that there was a friendly amendment and caucus over last minute to everyone, but I hope that everything is clarified, and if there are any questions, I will do my best to answer them.
Senator Paul?
Did you already give Secretary Valley amendments?
Yes, I have.
Okay. I would just like to say that this group has come to Financial Affairs and gave us a presentation to get us to prepare them for tonight. And I think they're the only group that has ever done that or even asked to do that. So FA has given them our request.
Senator Friedland?
I first want to say that I was really impressed by their amendment and everything they've done in the past. Due to the number of different organizations coming to us for money and the fact that it was slightly downsized, I would move to amend the therefore clause to say from $2,500 to $2,000, just to reflect the small downsizing to try to reach a compromise between helping out what I do think is a really cool organization, as well as making sure that we leave some money for other groups for the rest of the semester. Because remember, I believe the original amount asked for is over $10,000 in this meeting alone.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Second. Okay. So the amendment has been properly moved and seconded to change the amount in the therefore clause from $2,500 to $2,000. Now, is there any discussion? Yes.
I'd like to say that I believe that they already changed it to reflect the cost in the downsizing. And unless I'm mistaken, I don't think oh, sorry. I believe that you've already reflected the cost in the downsizing, if I'm correct. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm a little confused. I need clarification. So how much are you asking for and how many participants are you expecting?
So just to clarify the downsizing, we were initially, what we came before you guys with the first time was what is actually going to happen in September, and that's the summit that's going to bring together a regional body of students that was originally going to be about 450 people. That has been moved and tabled until next semester, and we'll be hoping to partner with you on that later and get your guidance on that. But this event that we're working on now is a student sustainability, or excuse me, a student, staff, and faculty sustainability summit on Purdue University. We're hoping to bring the university together and limit it to 250 to 300 people. That number is kind of variable because we are uncertain of exactly what facilities will be at our disposal because of the changes that have been made. At this point, we've been budgeting for 300 people, so that's why you heard 250 and 300 as two separate numbers. We're budgeting for 300 people, and the numbers that we'll put in front of you for the $700 for food for all of those people, the, I believe, $1,325 for the reusable bags, which would be, we're hoping to have a sponsored by PSG, that sort of thing, and then an extra amount that would be going towards basically additional items to go in those bags that would encourage people to participate and encourage people to attend the event. Did I answer your question?
What's the total that you're asking?
Total is $2,500 in those three categories. I think that ends it, unless I said the number wrong.
Is there any further discussion? Yes.
So I guess just a direct question about the amendment. The amendment takes it from 2,500 down to 2,000. And if you look at 300 people, that comes out to about $6.66 a person, which is a little bit more in line with where we've kind of funded the other couple events this evening. So would it, that ultimately have a huge detrimental effect in how well you're able to pull off the event? Kind of, are you able to find some funds elsewhere to work on having it?
So.
Sorry to interject, but just a reminder, if you're asking questions to the audience, you have to yield your time.
As,
It was a direct question.
Drake is the author on the bill, so he has.
Oh, shoot, I'm sorry, I stand corrected.
So, in terms of, I'll answer that in two ways. The first answer is yes, we are looking at corporate sponsorship to help alleviate some of the stress of those funds. So, directly, yes. In a second way, we are hoping to have as much funding available for this event as possible because we are working to, in the words of a couple of our faculty mentors, make the event and make the follow-up event in the fall perfect. That's one of the reasons we pushed the second event back, because it's the first of its kind in the United States to have a regional summit like this on sustainability and talk about what universities can do. So we're really hoping that with this first preparatory event at Purdue, we can make the second event in the fall absolutely perfect. And the more funding we have available to prepare for both of those events, the better we think we can represent the student body, and the better we think we can bring sustainability to the forefront as a discussion on the regional stage.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we will move to a vote. All in favor, please raise your name placards.
Voting on the amendment.
Yes. All opposed, same sign. Abstentions? Okay. Okay. No, okay, so it's 18 for, no. Yeah.
That was the same time as the classes, isn't it?
Okay, okay. All right, with a vote of 18 for 5, the amendment passes. Yes, sorry. Now we're back to discussion on the floor about the. Senator Teeman?
Direct question. Are you guys, do you guys have a certain set of venues in mind so that we can kind of get an idea for what you guys are planning for since the event is in 2 months?
So currently we have Constitution booked, and so that's a 450-person event venue, and we are looking at doing our breakout session, expanding this so that you have a bunch of different smaller rooms around Memorial Mall Center so that Purdue students really know where it is. On the event that it does become a smaller event, we have decided that we may move to Discovery Park for next facilities.
If I may add on to that. The second part, the question in the number of people, was the fact that with 300 people, kind of doing a disservice to our speakers. And so if we downsize to 250, we can fit in Discovery Park facilities. But we were hoping to have this event be host to 300 people, but again, the facilities would limit us to 250 in Discovery Park.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so I'm just going to address the white elephant in the room. So if we voted on everything tonight, we'd be giving out $10,500, and we only have $13,220 left, and I'm sure we all know that. But we also have 5 Senate meetings left, so I keep warning that it's gonna get really fuzzy within the next few Senate meetings. So be cautious with what you vote on.
Senator Tom.
I'm very aware of the budget and the amount of co-sponsorships and joint networks and awards that have kind of gone through the application system. My thing with that is these people have applied early, and that's actually, we do want a partnership. And to gain that partnership, we have to plan with them, and we actually have to partner with them. Look at the names, joint networks, we're joining the networks. And these are people that have come early enough so we can actually do that. So for the ones later on in the year that apply, I would say, so many Senate meetings in the month, there's not much we can do besides handing them a blank check and say, have fun at your event, and we can just kind of show up if we want to. But for these ones that are planning more in advance, we can actually have you part of the planning processes, which we want. So kind of how we restructure this. With having the 2 people working with them bi-weekly, as well as think of we just co-sponsorship Grand Prix, which is the third weekend, or the last weekend. So that's what I would say to that is like even if we spend that much money today, that means we will ensure actually a true co-sponsorship.
Senator McConnell.
I would like to also further to what Taylor said. This has been a student organization that has gone beyond what any other organization that has done a joint network or co-sponsorship with us last semester by attending the Financial Affairs Committee meeting, asking them questions, and being sure that they are ready and they have everything together that they can for us. So I really do think that they are deserving of what we have asked of them.
Senator Gagnon.
While I agree with Senator Winston in that we don't have a lot of money left, that's very factual. This is the 4th co-sponsorship we're hearing tonight. So if we are going into this now saying we don't have as much money, that's not fair to this organization or the organization that we're about to hear after. So keep that in mind. Try to keep unbiased about the next 2, or this and the next co-sponsorship.
Yes.
Finances are open for anyone in my studies. And I also would like to introduce a thing called sunk costs, in which the costs that we've already spent are no longer applicable, only what we're going to do in the future. Hence, I'm actually what Senator Gay just said, and thinking, okay, what are we doing for this one as an isolated, separate, different sponsorship than the one's project? And if we were going to address the full amount of, if we had given the total of everything tonight, then that should have been addressed in the very beginning of introducing any of those sponsorships. I'm sorry I know
Yes.
I just want to reiterate, this organization has worked very hard on this event and on the manifesto, and they're very deserving of these funds. Is my input.
All right. Seeing no further discussion, we will move to a vote. All in favor, please raise your name placards. All opposed, same sign. Abstentions? With a vote of 2402, Bill 1562, co-sponsorship and joint network of the Purdue Student Sustainability Council Summit passes. Yes.
I'm just bringing up Bill 1560.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to bring up Bill 1560, co-sponsorship and joint network of Alpha Sigma Phi. Is there any discussion on the floor at this time? Yes.
Looking at the bill, at least a copy I got, there was a space where the second individual that would be working on this joint network was supposed to be, which is Senator McDonald. So I moved to amend the bill to be myself and Senator McDonald, and they therefore are the whereas clause.
It's been properly moved and seconded to amend the last whereas clause to add Senator McDonald. Is there any discussion? Yes.
I would just like to say that I know Senator McDonald and Senator Friedland will do their full duties through this co-sponsorship joint network, and I look forward to seeing what you guys are able to do.
Thank you. And with that, we will move to a vote on the amendment. All in favor, please raise your name placards. Unanimous. With the unanimous vote, the amendment passes. Back to discussion on the floor. Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to list a couple of concerns I have with this event. One, we discussed the true aspect of JNet, and that is that we are truly working with them to put on the event. February 21st is not a lot of time to help that happen. Second, you didn't discuss, but something I thought of later. Do you have any plans for how to handle the liability for this event? And I'm just going to do all the concerns at once, just to go off. And then, along with that, I know you estimated 150 people. I don't know how many are per team, so how many teams that would be. But just in terms of looking at a budget, we'd be giving $1,000, and even if you got 20 teams to attend, that would still only raise the $1,000. And part of me thinks that we could put this, and I'm sorry, this money could be better spent in a situation where it would cost less and raise more money for the organization that it's for. And I do appreciate this event, but I feel like the items needed to put it on are putting a substantial cost on the event, and because of that, the amount of money to put on the event might not even be the amount you raise, which is a little concerning for me personally. So I would go to that question on liability.
Yeah, okay, with liability, I previously was risk manager of my fraternity. We have waivers that are sent to us from nationals that every member that participates must sign. And with that as well, I spoke with the skating center, Lafayette Skating Center. They said that they also have a waiver that needs to be signed, so that's already been taken care of.
How many per team as well?
It's 5 members per team. I don't remember each question you had. If you asked them,
Those are the two main questions. The others were concerns.
Well, furthermore, as far as the money, 150 people is a rough estimate. Something I didn't state earlier was that there's a game, then there's 15 minutes of free skate, so it appeals to more people who can't skate and play broom ball. And those are also going to be sold as tickets. It's $10 per person to come in and still get food, as well as participating in the skating, watching, cheering on other fraternities or other student organizations that participate in the event. So therefore, there's a larger, there's an ability to raise more than just, as you said, $1,000, which is going into this. And furthermore, the discussion tonight was talking about how diversity is an issue, and that's one of the bills that was passed earlier on. And this is definitely going to, open up the doors for more diversity events. This in itself would be, again, reiterating that it's partnering with an IFC fraternity, partnering with an NPHC fraternity, and you can look, that just does not happen on campus.
Sorry, Cheetah.
Yield time to Mike Young.
Thanks. I just want to say this is the kind of event that Becca and I ran on part of our platform. The I in time stands for inclusion, if anyone remembers that. And a lot of that had to do with putting together groups of students who don't normally collaborate. Like I said, IFC and SDHC do not physically collaborate on these kinds of events. And if this bill does pass, I think you have to sign it.
Yes.
I yield my time to Peter. I just had a quick question. One thing that we really tried to change when we recently kind of restructured the co-sponsorship system, and one of those reasons was to really stress, as Taylor said earlier, joining networks and the idea of a joint network, not just with outside organizations, but also on our end. So I guess my question is how are we joining your network necessarily, and what are we getting out of funding you guys?
Well, as you just said, this is what they ran on for the to be elected to their position. So therefore, have Purdue student government's name. I didn't bring this up, Jerry. But obviously, I want it tied to the event to see that it's not just Alpha Sigma Phi and Iota Phi data. It would be us together. But also, you have the ability. I assume Purdue student government, flyers and advertisements everywhere. So spreading awareness of this event would also be, substantial and helping even more, get way more than 100 people coming. So it'd be very, very helpful in that sense.
Sarah.
So I'd just like to say that I think this, the sort of event where it's a small organization coming together, wanting to try and put something on, was really the idea behind co-sponsorships. So I like the idea from that respect, but I thought that Noah brought up some good concerns, so I'm not 100% sure where I'm going right now. But I like the idea of the event. The money stuff, I'm not 100%.
Sarah again.
I'd just like to echo what David said the first in the beginning of that statement. And also, Mike, this is what you guys realized out there, what we've been working for, and especially we don't get to partner with Greek organizations through those sponsorships that often, so I think it's a really good opportunity to broaden our network.
I'd also, I mean, I know earlier I kind of jokingly talked about Senator McDonald and Senator Goodman. I know you guys you're going to be part of this planning, so I have faith that you'll be able to ensure that our money is used wisely and the event will go without a hitch.
Senator Hall.
Direct question. Because as you've been, with the, I know there's senators that are concerned about the financial aspect. If we, because you said we have to direct for the skate, or for the skating rink, is $595.45, correct?
$590.
If we pledge that much, would that still be beneficial for you guys? Would that be detrimental to your organization? Would you still be appreciative of us funding the skate?
Definitely, I mean, honestly, any dollar amount, we would really appreciate that. But, echoing that they are a small business, small organization, sorry. But they have 2 members, whereas we have 65. When it comes to splitting costs and putting in effort, they are not able to, because that would be roughly $700 that's still out of the US. Because we're providing, so far we've got $200 right now, and then actually we keep doing more. But with that being said, they have 2 guys. So if we have to still raise the $750, that's $350, $565, $5 per person for us. But for them, that's well, it's almost $200 per person. So that's really, really difficult on them. And I can't guarantee that we will help them out in the same way that you guys do.
Yes.
What money is coming from your organization, from your side, that we aren't seeing beyond our $1,000?
It's directly from our budget, as I said earlier.
What is that amount, I guess is what I'm asking?
Right now it's $100 per organization.
Okay. I guess my next step with that is, if we did take the 500 out, and then that leaves 700 left, still dividing that between 67 members is $10 each. And so I know we're college students, but $10 each to still put on an event to raise money for something, I guess to me it still doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility that if we took $500 back, that this event still couldn't go on. And I don't want to say that I don't want inclusion, that I don't want any of those other things. My concern is simply what the money is being spent on and where the money is going, because I think other events could be thrown with the same premise, maybe a different activity that could be inclusive but could cost significantly less than this event.
Right. But in addition to that, just like as I said, the skating rental is $450, the rink is $502, food we have budgeted for $400, and so that is over the $1,200 we can discuss. So I mean, there's still some more money that needs to be raised beyond the $200, which I mean we are going to take advantage of.
Sarah Millett.
I'd like to yield my time to this gentleman.
Hi, I'm Marcus Lloyd, construction student. I just want to say that if this event was $10, I definitely would not go. I barely go to McDonald's if it's not 1,000. I go to Wendy's for the 4 for $4. $10 is definitely out of the round of me thinking how I want to spend my money or how I want to do an extra activity outside of school.
Yes, Senator Teeter.
So you said
yes, that is correct.
That is a Sunday.
Yes.
Do you have do you think that'll have any negative impact on your numbers? Because I mean, I know that there are people who do attend church, or it's 8 in the morning on a Sunday, they're going to want to sleep in. Do you think that's going to have a negative impact on your attendance?
We definitely took that into consideration, and we sent out polls to, I believe it was 350 responses that we had. There was multiple dates that were available, like such as the 21st, it was 8 a.m. to noon, and then also 9:15 p.m. to 1:15 a.m. But on the Sunday, staying at late is just not feasible, because this is dates that the skating center is actually available for events. And then it was also Mondays, but again, it was running until about 2 a.m., which just really isn't feasible. So people we sent out polls to said that they wouldn't attend. That was what got the 150 number for 8 a.m. to noon on February 21st. Oh, and as far as mass, we spoke with people who do attend church. There are afternoon mass as well as the morning. So, like one of my good friends here told me he's coming, but he's going to have to go to the afternoon mass as opposed to the morning.
And with that, we are actually out of time. Sarah Cole.
I move to extend the date for 5 minutes.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to extend date. All in favor, please raise your name placards. Hold on, sorry, can you keep holding them up? Sorry, guys. All opposed, same sign? Okay. 2? Okay. 3? Okay. Abstentions? So with a vote of 23-4, co-sponsorship, a joint network of Alpha Sigma Phi passes. Oh my gosh, sorry. Losing my mind up here, sorry guys. Debate has been extended. Continuing further discussion. Yes.
Thank you. Guys, what are we doing here? We are extending debate. There's another 5 minutes. We've debated this bill longer than the Student Voices Amendment. Like, what's going on? This is a co-sponsorship. This is something that it's great. We haven't seen very many events like this. I understand the concerns about the budget. I understand the concerns about the number of people in attendance, but I don't believe that now is really the time to be questioning whether or not people are going to be at church and not there. That's not trying to throw shade here, but this is Senate. We're debating a dollar amount, okay? Like, there's been more math done here today than I've done this whole weekend. I was in the Aero Lab for like a couple hours. So we need to decide on these numbers beforehand. I don't think it's fair to keep them here for this long while we're debating about whether or not we should get them 50 or 100 or a couple hundred more. I really think we should pull the trigger on this thing. That's my 2 cents. As someone who can't vote.
Yes, Senator McCott.
I use my time to Al.
Thank you. I just wanted to add another student voice, and I guess the Greek voice to it as well. Looking at other philanthropies across the board in the Greek area, $10 is very, very minimal for a philanthropy admission event. One that includes skate rentals and food, that's a steal. If it gets passed, even if the event doesn't get passed, I will still plan on attending it with my house. I think it's a phenomenal deal. I don't think the price will be an issue. On top of that, a lot of houses have a philanthropy fund. We'll pay for a team from the house to go to it, so I don't see attendance being an issue. Thank you.
Sarah Mullet.
Direct question to Al. Sorry. So I am not really like that familiar with you, but is it typical in philanthropies for an organization that's not hosting a philanthropy event to supply a majority of the funds for that philanthropy? Is it typical for us to be spending $500 when we're only spending $200 each?
I'm not sure how the funding for other houses events go, so I don't think I can pull up my things in that way.
Senator Kinnaman.
Direct question. You said you polled to see what dates would work best. Who did you poll to find that information?
It was just different Greek organizations. Because that's quite easiest access to almost every Greek organization has a grouping. And with that being able to post to hundreds of people within seconds was the easiest way to get the answer. Did you need specific organizations? No.
Yes.
So in the interest of compromise, I move to amend the dollar amount to $750.
It's been properly moved and seconded to amend the therefore clause with the dollar amount from 1,000 to 750. Is there any discussion on the floor at this time about the amendment? Seeing none, we will move to a vote. All in favor, please raise your name placards. All opposed, same sign. Abstentions? With a vote of 14-3-10, the amendment passes. So we are back to discussion on the floor about Bill 1560. Yes.
I think everything that has been said could be said. I call the question.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded to call to question. It requires a 2/3 vote. All in favor, please raise your name placards. Unanimous. It passes to call to question, so we will now move to a vote. All in favor, please raise your name placards. Okay. Please try not to change it. All opposed, same sign. Seven. Abstentions? 4, so 5. Okay. So, with a vote of 15-7-5, Bill 1560, co-sponsorship, a joint network of Alpha Sigma Phi passes. Yes.
I move to bring up resolution 1530.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to bring up resolution 1530. It's amendable, it's debatable, and requires a majority vote. Is there any discussion at this time? Yes.
So, thank you for the presentation. Looking forward to the summer. But I have a few items of concern as far as the manifesto go, and I think there will, so basically it just involves kind of tightening down the language. So, as an organization, I feel that Purdue student government shouldn't be increasing any sort of costs on students. Nor do I think that it should be forcing professors to teach in a certain style or manner based on one important challenge out of many important challenges that we face. And finally, I don't know if we should make divestiture obligatory, and so I don't think any of these things are in the manifesto, but I just want to make sure that Purdue student government isn't being held to a standard that we didn't agree to. So with that, I move to amend the therefore clause to read, therefore be resolved that Purdue student government endorses the attached open letter to the general public and the faculty senate, if and only if the results of any of the enumerated initiatives do not result in any one of the following: undue financial burden placed on the university, any increase in monetary costs for students, requirement of faculty to involuntarily revise the style or content of their instruction, or obligatory divestiture from any country or organization.
Properly moved and seconded to amend the therefore clause of resolution 1530 to the paragraph that Sarah Malloy just read and he also emailed to us. Is there any discussion at this time about the amendment? Yes.
I feel that this is out of place. We have never placed this sort of burden upon any other organization that's come before us. Furthermore, if we're discussing forced initiatives that have been placed on professors, let's look at the surveys to begin with. They don't have a choice of whether they want to send that out or not and to encourage students. They can encourage students to take it, but they are forced to discuss it. I think it's a little bit unfair. And the financial burden placed on a university, I do not recall in any wording that it says here that they are forced to fund this. The increased involvement and availability. That does not at all involve increasement of funds or reallocation. And they are improved and increased. These are not concrete words. They are goals we wish to reach as a sustainable campus for Purdue.
Yes, Sarah Campbell.
I'd like to echo what Raven just said, and I'd also like to point out that I fundamentally disagree with a couple of the statements in Senator Malloy's amendment as talking about holding professors to a certain standard. I think that's very important on a college campus and making sure that professors are all teaching to a certain standard and informing their students. It might not necessarily be that we're on the same wavelength in that case, but I do think that professors should all be teaching.
Please speak up. I can't hear you, so I realize it's loud.
Sorry. I do believe that professors should be equally teaching their students important issues. I mean, if I'm having a class with one professor and another professor teaching a completely different syllabi, that's a problem for the same exact point. I mean, we're not getting equal education because one professor is opted to teach one thing or another. So I fundamentally disagree with that statement, and I would like to yield the remainder of my time to Mike.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm getting so much speaking time. It's great. Thank you. I just want to say that so the Purdue Sustainability Council has been working with our special sustainability ad hoc committee, which we all voted on to create, and they've served as the PSG liaison to this group. I think if you're concerned, some of which I agree with, by the way, I think that would have been the place to make this kind of a commitment. There was plenty of opportunity to talk to this group before tonight, and so to debate putting this on now, I don't feel like it's the right time to do that. I think it's unfair to the group, and honestly, we've had a significant amount of time to have this kind of discussion with them. It didn't happen, and
Thank you. Sarah Gay.
I just want to say that I refuse to put an asterisk on this resolution, and I will yield the remainder of my time to Jay Collins.
I won't take up much of your time, so I'll keep this really simple. Quite honestly, the entire manifesto was structured so as not to put any demands on the university. That was the #1 priority of the organization, and we tried to make certain in every way possible, including by bringing it before the PSG Sustainability Committee, to make it clear that we were not demanding anything of the university, we were not demanding anything of the administration, and we wanted to work alongside them and create an open conversation that would support an atmosphere that would encourage sustainability. So in no way are we asking or are we demanding that certain things happen, and I would just ask that you keep that in mind when you vote on this. Thank you.
Please keep the separate conversations to a minimum with that, Sarah Malloy.
Yeah, so I think based on what's been said, this amendment is pretty much in keeping with the spirit of the bill. I just think that it's kind of tightening down the language so that we're making sure that we're not putting more financial burden on already debt-saddled college students. That we're making sure that, we're not talking about, I mean, there's really no place in my discrete mathematics class for talking about, like, windmills or something. It just doesn't really happen. And I just wanted to, I mean, it doesn't really say anything about divestiture, but I just want to make sure that that's clear and that we make sure that that any funds that the university has aren't endangered by there's no conflict of interest.
Sarah McConnell.
I'd like to echo you know, we should have had this discussion earlier. We have a week with this legislation. I am, of course, open to amendments, but I would like to discuss them in advance. I was not brought up this amendment in caucus. It was not brought up to our committee on sustainability. I consider myself someone to work with, but I was a little disappointed this has happened. Furthermore, I think that this has been a great initiative. They already have been making progress with at least 300 to 600 signatures. So this has already been released to the public and is gaining support. So PSG would only add to that motion that's been already been happening.
Thank you. Sarah.
So I would like to say that in speaking with the amendment, I think that when these sort of resolutions where we're endorsing things, you either endorse them or you don't. I don't know that it makes a lot of sense to say we endorse something but blah, 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 blah. That just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So in terms of the amendment, and I think that the manifesto is broad enough that it can be interpreted well enough. It's written very well, so I don't know that there's a need to amend this.
Let's just go down the line. Sarah Toll. Wonderful. It's been properly moved and seconded to call the question. It requires a 2/3 majority vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right. All opposed, same sign. Abstentions. There's one abstention. So the vote 25-1-1. It passes to call to question. So we will now move. Ethan counts as a.
Sorry.
So again, with the vote of 25-1-1, the call to question passes. So we will be voting now on resolution 1530. The amendments. I'm really losing my mind up here. The amendment to bill or resolution 1530. All in favor, please raise your name, placards. Four. All opposed, same sign. Abstentions. So with a vote of 418-4, the amendment fails. Now we're back to a discussion on the floor.
That only has 26.
There's another abstention.
Oh, there's another abstention. So 5. All right, so with a vote of 418-5, regardless, it fails. And we're back to discussion. Yes.
Okay, I think that the word endorse here is what some people have a problem with, particularly with this manifesto. And so I'm going to propose an amendment that I think has the same idea behind it that everyone can hopefully agree with will work because it's, well, let's go ahead and say it. Therefore, be it resolved that Purdue student government recognizes the views of its constituents and the Student Sustainability Council and will put forth the attached open letter to the general public and the faculty senate. And in that way, we're still saying that we're going to put this out to the university without us saying that we are having any, that we back the view of students, not that we're backing the entire idea.
So do you have that amendment written down?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Just you get it to Val. Is there a second for the amendment?
Second.
The amendment has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion about the amendment? Senator McDonald.
Okay, I just feel this kind of defeats the purpose of the resolution. As senators, it's our job to communicate these kind of things by people anyway. I feel like if we're moving it to just a communication kind of thing, there's no reason to even have a resolution on that. That's our job.
Sarah Campbell.
I would like to point out that I feel that language very much waters down the point of this. Like we were just saying, we recognize student views. giving any kind of credibility or thought to this, which they already collected 600 signatures from student body members who want to see this move forward. There's nothing in here that is binding. There's nothing in here that is going to harm us as an organization. It's all positive things. There's no way this could possibly backfire because these are all suggestions. These are all goals that they're asking to be met. They're not demanding anything. This is all asking. It's very kindly worded. It's very professionally done. You can run through a ton of channels, and I don't understand why we keep trying to walk it down the line. So I am voting yes on this without amendments. If amendments are made to this, I cannot vote on it.
Sarah, again.
I'll echo what Senator McDonald and Senator Campbell just said. I feel that this amendment basically turns us into this is us delivering this to the university where the Sustainability Council could do that now, and it would have the same effect whether or not we voted on this amended resolution.
Sarah.
I appreciate the efforts that we have here to try to best represent our constituents, but I'd like to bring up another instance that we did not change the wording. Was the letter to Mizzou, as controversial as it is, we didn't feel a need to, that was more, I would say that's more controversial than what we are approaching right now. And we didn't feel a need at all to change the wording. We did change the wording on the letter, but that was something that did not happen. It was vetoed, and that is understandable. But we passed it as it was. And that was far more controversial than what we're facing right now.
Yes, Sarah Friedland.
I would like to point out that those are two completely different issues. Not to say that I don't support one issue or the other, or do support one issue or the other. I just do think that that in itself is comparing apples and oranges. I don't think it's fair to look at two very different issues and to look at them in the same lens.
Taylor?
First, I would like to say, anyone on that side of the room, speak up, please.
I think everyone speak up.
Yeah, everyone really try to get your voices carried. Let me know if I'm not. But I would say they've done their due diligence more than any other organization that's ever approached us, I feel like. And I think it's a dishonor to our constituents and the people, our constituents who probably signed the, why am I blanking on that word? But manifesto that signed it, we're not saying we support that.
Sarah Campbell.
I'd like to call the question.
It's been properly moved and seconded to call the question. It requires a 2/3 vote. All in favor, please raise your name and record. Unanimous? With a unanimous vote, it calls the question on the amendment. So, all in favor? Who was it? 2601 vote. It still passes. We are now voting on the amendment to Resolution 1530. All in favor, please raise your name. Placards. Yes, to the amendment. Four. All opposed, same sign. Abstentions? With a vote of 4-16-6, the amendment fails. Now we are back to discussion on the floor. It was 5 then. All right. Okay, sorry. Let's go back. We have the wrong vote count. All in favor of the amendment, please raise your name placards. 3, 4. Okay. All opposed, same sign. Abstentions? Abstentions is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay. Okay, so then with a vote of 4, 17, 6, the amendment still fails, but now we got the right vote count. Back to discussion on the floor, Senator Campbell.
Call the question and resolution.
Been properly moved and seconded to call to question once again. All in favor, please raise your name placards. List of the people here. All in favor now for voting on resolution 1530. Please raise your name placards. All opposed, same sign. Abstentions? All right, with a vote of 23-2, resolution 1530 passes. Yes, Senator Toll.
I move to adjourn, but before I say that you if you are part of a joint network, if you received one, please do not leave before speaking to me. I have a couple of things I need to discuss.
Okay. Yeah, Senator Murray.
I move to bring up Bill 1558.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded to bring up Bill 1558, adoption of the 2016-2019 PSG Strategic Plan. Trevor?
Hi guys, I'm Steve Spa. I'm the director in SPA and the author of the bill and one of the authors for the strategic plan. Basically, just a 4-year guideline that SPA has to do every 4 years for what PSG wants to accomplish. I think it's really straightforward inside, but if you guys have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them to make them clear.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask a direct question, is what happens with this after it's passed or failed or whatever happens with it? Where does it go? Who sees it? What happens to it? Some people have expressed that they've never seen the previous strategic plan, so I'm just curious where they end up.
So the strategic plan goes on the Purdue SG website, so basically anyone who goes to the website can read it. Basically what it does is it outlines what PSG wants to accomplish over the 4 years. It's not saying anything specific, and it's not binding in any way. It's just what SPA's has written up based on what all other people in PSG have wanted to outline and accomplish over the next 4 years.
Thank you.
Yep.
Senator Armour.
I'd just like to say that I think it's well written with some good ideas, and I know that they asked for input along the way, the whole way, so it's a very open process, so good work.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, we will move to a vote. All in favor, please raise your name placards. All opposed, same sign. One. Abstentions? With a vote of 24-1-2, Bill 1558, adoption of the 2016-2019 PSG strategic plan passes. Thank you to SPA for all of their hard work on that. Yes.
Second.